We are doing extra time on the Off the Work podcast / YouTube channel. Anthony, what are we bloody doing today?
So, as we all are aware, there's no Ballon d'Or this year. Robert Lewandowski was robbed of his guaranteed Ballon d'Or due to the fact that about 4 months were missed for most leagues, and some leagues were just cancelled altogether. So instead, they asked 140 journalists to vote for their greatest ever 11 in football.
I wasn't asked. So annoying.
I know. Our invite must have been lost in the mail.
Yeah,
but so this is going to be a team that really people will disagree about certain things. People will have players they thought should have been in, but to me, there's not much you can do to really correct it. I'm looking at the team that came out as the dream team, and I'm not sure what massive changes you could make.
I got one.
Realistically, what'll be interesting is we've watched quite a few of these players play, and we're almost certainly have seen highlights for a lot of others. We've heard stories from our parents. There's maybe one or two players that none of us have really watched or seen highlights for. I know for a fact there's one player in the first 11 that I've never seen a highlight for. I've only ever heard.
Lev Yashin, in it.
Yeah. So will we get this?
I heard he was quality though. But yeah,
he's the only goalkeeper to win a Ballon d'Or. So there's that.
Let's get this going then. On that case, spoiler alert about the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
Anthony, take it away.
Will we do the starting 11 first, and then I'll give you the runners up in each position after we've heard the first 11 full.
Whatever floats your boat.
What do you think, Stephen?
I don't know. I kind of think we should just do it position by position. Just go
first, I'd say position. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
do third, second, first.
Yeah, third, second, first.
Yeah.
Okay,
little countdown.
So for the goalkeeper position, the goalkeeper that received the third most votes is Manuel Neuer. He came in third, as third greatest keeper of all time. Yeah, not much to say about that one. Pretty standard. Second place, Gianluigi Buffon. Once again, I'd say that's fair. I probably would have him second, in my opinion. How long he's done? Well, the thing is, you got to compare. Buffon's won the World Cup. Neuer's won the World Cup. Buffon's been doing it for 22 years. Neuer was a top keeper for about, let's say, 8 so far. 10 at a push.
I just love Neuer.
Yeah, but that's personal. You're not looking at it unbiased. And then overall, keeper that received the most votes, greatest keeper of all time, Lev Yashin. No surprise, considering the Goalkeeper of the Year award is called the Yashin Award. No surprise that he was voted the greatest keeper of all time. What do we think about Lev Yashin being? I mean, I'm saying no for surprise, but you two. Any thoughts on that one?
I mean, I've never had him play, but from what I've heard, he's pretty good player.
He's been highly regarded throughout history as the greatest goalkeeper of all time for the Soviet Union. He has played 812 matches during his career and is believed to have saved 150 penalties and 270 clean sheets. And he won the European Goalkeeper of the Year award 9 times during his career. No surprises from me. I mean, who else would be an honorable mention besides Buffon and Neuer? Kahn, maybe?
Peter Schmeichel?
No, I don't have Schmeichel up there now.
No, I probably wouldn't.
Maybe
Casillas?
Casillas, maybe, actually. Yeah, Casillas is one I'd probably have potential. I think, Percek, nah.
He's class, man.
I think you have to look at it and look. I know Lev Yashin didn't, but World Cup winner, when you talk about greatest all time, that has got to be a factor. Yep. They could be, obviously, if they've been amazing at club and just from a country that never won, that's fine. But you have to take in their international success and domestic.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fair.
So we'll move on to right back now. In third place, in the third 11, is the Bayern Munich legend, Philipp Lahm.
Fair.
Considering the other two ahead of him, I think that is more than fair.
Yep.
Second, Carlos Alberto, Brazilian legend.
Never heard of him.
He's part. Let me just confirm to make sure I'm 100% right here, but I believe Carlos Alberto is part of what is considered the greatest Brazilian team.
Brazil 1970.
He's either that or the
I've never heard of
him. He's either 1970 or he's part of the greatest team to never win.
I mean, there's a lot of players from the Brazil 1970 team I haven't heard of, but they've always been highly regarded as the name team. Carlos Alberto was in the 1970
Yes,
team.
so they are considered the greatest ever team.
Yeah,
not just greatest club team, greatest international. They're considered the greatest team. Obviously, people from different generations might disagree, but widely considered.
Who was the other one who was supposed to be really good along with Pele? Was it Jairzinho?
Socrates 1970 or 1982?
Nah, Socrates was later. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few. I'll admit, I'm not.
But I don't know.
I know the 82 team a lot better.
Yeah, but Carlos Alberto, he's very highly regarded. One of the greatest.
Number one, considered the greatest right back of all time. And to be honest, there's not many arguments you can make against this man being the greatest right back. To me, he is still the greatest right back I've ever seen play, and that is Cafu.
Yep.
Yeah.
Former Brazilian captain, AC Milan captain.
The most capped Brazilian player of all time. Obviously played for Roma and AC Milan.
Two World Cup winners, 94, 2002.
Yep.
To be honest, I can't really see I love Philip Lahm. I think he deserves his third place, but over the other two, I think it's more unfair. I don't think
the other two are more talented. Whereas Lahm's
centre back. Now, see, I read this list to my dad, and he said the person that was put in first place at centre back, he's a player that played kind of elsewhere in the pitch. So my dad never considers him a centre back, even though that is where a lot of people do.
Yeah.
So third place.
Yeah. Sergio Ramos.
Third place, Sergio Ramos. Third greatest centre back of all time, apparently.
I think there's an argument that there's better ones than him, but
I don't think Ramos is great for his defensive contributions. I think they're excellent, but I also think him as an attacking threat is another big part of his game.
Yeah.
Number two, second greatest centre back of all time, Franco Baresi. Can't really argue against it either.
Nope, he was
Milan's greatest ever.
Can't be an Italian centre back.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's loads of Italian
but you can, because number one is not Italian. Number one is the Kaiser himself, Franz Beckenbauer.
It's got to be Franz Beckenbauer.
It's got to be Beckenbauer.
Yeah.
He is without a doubt one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
Yeah.
Top 10 all time, no debate as well.
Yeah. No debate. Yeah. No, I mean, again, like you said, he's before our time, but from what I've heard, Beckenbauer was the dogs. Balls.
Played 103 times for West Germany, winning the World Cup in '74. Won 2 Ballon d'Ors. Especially in an award that defenders get overlooked for. He won twice. And then we'll move on to left back. They're playing a right back, centre back, left back. So a 3-4-3 is the formation they've went for to get all the players in. In third place is Paul Breitner.
Can't say I've ever heard of him.
I'm not going to lie, I'm not familiar with him. He is German, which means he's almost certainly, I'm going to say, from that same team Beckenbauer was from, if you want to look it up.
How do you spell his last name?
Breitner.
Breitner.
Yeah. I'll admit he is a player I'm not fully familiar with, but that is because despite how much I enjoy looking back at some of the greatest players of all time, I can't see them all.
Was he better than Ashley Cole? Interesting.
Yes.
Well, Ashley Cole was class, to be fair. But again, the top two, I have no debate over. So yeah.
See, I'm right about the second one because I think he's excellent. But I think second best left back of all time is Roberto Carlos. Yeah. I think Roberto Carlos is remembered better than he actually was due to his how great his free kicks were. And I don't think defensively he was a great left back. I think attackingly he's one of the best left backs of all time. But I think defensively he's quite weak.
Yeah.
But number one, a player who moved to centre back later in his career, but was actually debuted as a left back.
Get off my beer.
AC Milan legend Paolo Maldini, the greatest defender, in my opinion, the greatest defender to ever play the game.
There was no question here. It was going to be number one for left back. It was
902 appearances for AC Milan.
Question.
25-year career, 7 Serie A titles, 5 European Cups.
126 appearances for Italy, and
he didn't win the World.
Right.
He didn't win the World Cup with Italy, but he did reach the final in '94. I will say Paolo Maldini used to have the saying that if he ever had to make a tackle, he'd made a mistake, which I think is an excellent attitude as a defender. He is without doubt one of the best I ever saw play as well, despite me only catching the end of his career incredible player.
Mm-hmm.
Right midfielder. Third place, a great player, French,
Horrible person.
bit controversial, Michel Platini.
Heard he was a very good player. I can't
was
say
for a
much
long
about him.
time considered the greatest ever greatest ever French player. Was considered one of the greatest until this man came along, who's in second place, Zinedine Zidane, my favorite player of all time.
He wasn't really a right midfielder though, was he? I thought he was more of an attacking midfielder.
They're using the right mid and left mid as attacking kind of places as well. Because if you think he's not a right midfielder,
I have to say I'm not even sure Zidane was as good as people make out.
No, he was. Zidane's touch, Zidane's dribbling. Zidane came out of retirement in 2006 and was still one of the best players at the tournament.
I think he was a late bloomer. He hit his prime a bit later than other people would normally would.
To put in perspective, in the early 2000s when the Galacticos were forming, Brazilian Ronaldo cost Real Madrid 20 odd million. Figo cost around the same. Beckham cost him 23 million or so. Zinedine Zidane in the year 2000, 2001 cost Real Madrid 41 million. You put that into perspective for how much.
Hey, wasn't he like 29 when they bought him? I think it was fairly old when Real Madrid bought him.
But he was to be that value of money at that time. That if you put into like kind of the sense of the market, was probably more expensive than Ronaldo's move to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Like that's how Zidane, in my opinion, until Bale's overhead kick against Liverpool had the greatest Champions League final goal of all time with its volley against Leverkusen.
Yeah. But no complaints with the top spot in the right mid.
Right mid, top spot, the late great Diego Maradona.
Arguably not a right mid, but they've all got to fit in somewhere.
The thing is, there's the four players you have to have in the top team.
Yeah.
The two still playing, and the two that were considered the greatest of all time before the two that are still playing. That's my way of telling you who it is without telling you who it is.
Yeah.
So you have to have Maradona in this team. He has to be in this team. One of the greatest players to ever play the game. One of the most skillful players to ever play the game.
I guess Messi's up top then in this formation.
They're playing 4 midfield, 3 up top. So they're playing like 2 wingers as well. So that's why I mean right mid and left mid are more kind of attacking mid, right attacking mid and left attacking mid.
Yeah. So okay.
So yeah, Maradona right mid. Not really much debate about that, I'd say.
No complaints from me.
Yeah, he's got to be in the team somewhere.
One of the central midfielders. Third place, Johan Neeskens, Dutch star. My guess is once again he was in the total football team. Let me just check. And if you don't know total football, look it up.
That's Cruyff, isn't it?
It is the style of play they played in that team in 1974. It's
someone who hasn't popped up.
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah, he was in that team.
Someone who hasn't popped up in the top 3 is Andre Iniesta. Not seen in the top 3. Interesting.
There's a reason for that. Second greatest midfielder of all time for this position, because it's 2 central midfielders, Andre Pirlo. I don't know about that one personally.
No, I would disagree with that one.
I think he's an excellent player. I think he's one of the best players we've seen. But I think when you think about how many great central midfielders,
I think Iniesta was a better player than Pirlo.
Yeah,
I think Zidane could be put in at centre midfield instead of right mid.
Yeah,
and he would have been ahead of Pirlo, in my opinion.
There's so many players I could think of, but I'd need a list of them in front of me to see, because I can't think of them off the top of my head.
Well, I have my 25 players of all time list on my phone that I made.
Oh, fair.
Pirlo, I'm 99% sure Pirlo cracked my top 25.
I probably wouldn't have.
But
number 1 is an interesting one.
This Barcelona and Spain legend, Xavi. World Cup winner. Won
I'd say it's fair.
2 Euros, fair. 8 La Liga titles, 4 Champions Leagues. Yeah. I've always thought Iniesta was better, but Xavi deserves his place.
Yeah,
Xavi
absolutely.
The other central midfield spot, third place, Didi from Brazil.
I suppose it's fair. I couldn't tell you anything about him.
No.
Second,
I'm not sure about number 2.
I don't agree with number 2 either. Frank Rijkaard, former AC Milan legend, former Barcelona manager. But the thing is, out of the 3, the Flying Dutchman that AC Milan had, Gullit, Van Basten and Rijkaard, I always had Rijkaard as being the weakest of the 3.
Yeah, me too.
I'm surprised he got on here. truthfully.
Especially Van Basten.
Van Basten's an attacker. I have no issue with who the other centre midfielder is, though, and that's Lothar Matthäus.
Yep, no issue with that.
German legend, excellent player.
Always one of the ones who pops up as one of the greatest of all time. So, yeah. The Germans have had some great.
5 World Cup appearances, 1 win. 150 times. He won the European Championship in 1980.
Ballon
d'Or 1990. 7 Bundesliga titles and a Serie A crown. Yep, not much to say there. Brilliant player. He's played in the same... Oh, I don't know if he did. Did him and Beckenbauer play at the same time? Or am I thinking of someone else?
I don't think they did. I think Matthäus might have been a bit later.
And then left midfielder. 3rd all-time. Andre Iniesta.
That notorious left mid. Andre Iniesta.
Oh, that's why he wasn't picked for centre mid. Then they put him on the left.
I think they put some players in positions they can play, even though that wasn't where they mainly played, because so they get all the players and they feel deserve to be in.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It makes sense.
I've got no complaints with this 3. I don't think so. Yeah, Iniesta 3rd.
Maybe I'm being a bit foolish, but this person who's picked 2nd, I always thought was an attacker, not a left midfielder, and that is the Real Madrid legend Alfredo Di Stefano.
Wasn't he more of a centre forward? I don't know.
That's the thing. I always thought he was more. Then again, so was the man that was put in at number 1 for left mid.
Yeah,
the Brazilian icon, Pele. I believe he's the only player to win more than 2 World Cups. He has won 3: 1958, 1962, and 1970.
Yeah.
He's won 7 Ballon d'Ors retrospectively when they did their reevaluation, which would actually mean he has won more than Messi, but obviously he didn't win them at the time. He won them retrospectively. I believe, unless Ronaldo still holds the record for most recorded goals of all time, 767.
Yeah.
Unless he's passed it recently, Cristiano Ronaldo, I believe Pele still holds the record for the most recorded goals, with 767 goals over his career.
Think that's still a thing. Yeah, no complaints. Pele has always been regarded as the greatest of all time. For me, growing up, everybody says it. But that might change in a few years, especially with our right wing spot. Especially, very strong.
There are 4 players that people argue for the greatest of all time. 2 we've talked about, Maradona and Pele. The other 2
are yet to come.
Being.
So tell us about that right wing spot, and it's a very strong
3rd all time.
Very strong 3. This
part of the Holy Trinity, George Best.
I've heard a cracking footballer, so yeah, highly deserved.
I've heard he was the greatest out of 3.
Someone said to me he could potentially be the greatest out of 3.
No, I mean Dennis Law and Bobby Charlton. I think a lot of people say George Best was the greatest out of 3.
I think a lot of people regard George Best as one of the greatest of all time, though.
He's in my top 25 list.
Yeah.
2nd is Garrincha.
Yeah, Brazilian legend.
Yeah. I once again can't remember what.
I've been to the stadium named after him.
Have you? Nice.
In Brasilia.
I think he was just before Brazil 1970. He was more 50s, 60s, I think, Garrincha.
Excellent player. He was in the team with Pele then. And then number 1 was any question, Messi. Lionel Messi.
Yeah. No debate there.
One of the greatest players we'll probably ever get to see.
Yeah.
He has won the Ballon d'Or 6 times, played 142 times for Argentina. He has won 10 La Liga titles, 4 Champions Leagues, and he's 33 right now. So he's still got a couple of years.
Such a shame he's never going to have the World Cup to his name. Because that is the one thing that's
the best ever player to never win the World Cup.
That's the one thing that's holding him down, not winning the World Cup.
So should I do left wing then striker, or striker then left wing?
Let's do
left wing.
Let's do left wing, yeah.
Okay. 3rd all-time left wing, Arsenal legend, France legend, Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
I think the problem is
striker, but
I don't know who I'd put in ahead, but I also think that maybe there's others who do deserve it.
Perez, he was pretty good.
Nah, not Perez. No way.
No, greatest of all time. No, Perez isn't even come close.
No way.
No.
Sorry,
second, Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No complaints.
Number 1.
He's made football fun.
Yeah, number one. Once again, no complaints. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Won the Euro with them. He's won 7 league titles in England, Spain, and Italy. He's won 5 Ballon d'Ors. Him and Messi hold most of the scoring records now.
Yeah.
And then that leaves us with the striker in third place. And I think he's only in third place due to injury. Oh, no, that's not true. Actually, looking at who's in second and first. But still, third place, Marco van Basten, Dutch legend, Milan legend, one of the greatest strikers ever, retired at the age of 28 due to injuries from players kicking him all the time.
Yeah.
He had the ankles of a 60-year-old at the age of 28 due to how many players fouled him. That's how unstoppable he was. Yeah. Second greatest striker of all time. In my opinion, the most influential person to ever touch the game of football as a player and a manager, Johan Cruyff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Cruyff was an attacking midfielder. Was he a striker?
No, he was a striker.
Centre forward kind of thing.
But remember, he was part of Total Football where the entire team could play every position. He helped out defence. He could play in midfield. He could play in attack. So Cruyff was a striker. He was a centre forward. And then number one, no surprise, really.
Surprise for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Ronaldo.
Yeah. For me, the player that I would have number one hasn't even made the top 3.
Ferenc Puskás?
No.
That's who's missing, in my opinion, Puskás.
No, the person who is missing for me is the bomber, Gerd Müller.
Yes,
German
Gerd Müller
legend.
as well deserves to be in there.
I'm looking at his record, and in fact, he won the World Cup, scored in the final. He got 487 goals in 555 appearances, and for West Germany, he got 66 goals in 62 games. For me, Gerd Müller's got to be
a lot of the goal scoring records that Messi and Ronaldo have broken in their time were held by Gerd Müller. I agree with you there.
I'd probably have Gerd Müller over Van Basten, definitely, but I'd have him over Ronaldo, 100%.
I'd have Cruyff over them all personally, but I think that Gerd Müller, the problem is, I don't think Gerd Müller is a better player than the 3. I think he's a better goal scorer than the 3, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's a strike, but Gerd Müller to me was no, I know, but he was a finisher. He was a goal scorer. The other 3 were better players.
It's like Lewandowski. He's not technically a brilliant footballer, but he just scores goals. I think it's very similar. I think
this was the hardest area to pick because there's been so many great strikers. Like you say, Puskás, one of the great strikers to ever play the game.
Yeah, I think defenders are more clear cut, but with strikers, there are so many great strikers to choose from.
Like you say, Gerd Müller was almost. I imagine that this one was probably one of the closest ones. I imagine, I would have loved to see the voting because I wouldn't be surprised if the voting between Van Basten, Gerd Müller, Puskás, and maybe some other names is very close.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Cruyff had to be in this list somewhere.
Yeah.
Because for me, he's top 5 all time. He's behind Ronaldo, Messi, Maradona, and Pele. And by Ronaldo and Cristiano Ronaldo. I think Cruyff's 5th.
I'd have Cruyff over Fat Ronaldo as well. Yeah.
Yeah, well, just because Cruyff, in my opinion, is one of the greatest players for what he did, for how he played. He was playing with the skill and the flash that we see nowadays in the late 70s. And then as a manager, Pep holds Cruyff up to different standards. Excellent. The way Barcelona, their kind of style of play, the tiki-taka, the academy, the way it was built, Cruyff had a hand in all of that. Most influential.
I've got a question for you guys. Are there any players playing now who in 10 years' time could be in contention for a place on this list?
There's only one that comes to mind for me, and maybe I'm being a bit biased. No, not biased when I say it. It's not a Liverpool player, don't worry, guys.
I was going to say, the only person who comes to my name possibly is Mbappe, but that depends what career he has.
Mbappe
for me, and Haaland.
Yeah, Haaland.
I think the big issue is the level of the names of the strikers already.
And the other problem is Haaland's never going to win a World Cup.
Yeah.
True.
Admittedly, Cruyff and Van Basten didn't either, but Cruyff went to a final. The only reason he didn't go to the World Cup in 78.
I mean, Messi is considered the best player of all time. He hasn't won a World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some people would
argue
final. Once again, World Cup final for Messi.
Some people would argue that's the thing that holds them back over the likes of Pele, Maradona, the fact that they haven't won a World Cup.
Yeah.
A lot of people see that as one of the main things you have to win if you want to be regarded as the greatest. But
Mbappe's already done it. So if Mbappe goes to the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, or something.
Mbappe's already done it.
And does things, then Mbappe's already got one World Cup to his name, and he's young enough to have at least another, especially with that France team, the way they're looking. I think, in a way, mainly because of the right-back position, I think Trent may get in the running for the next time they do this. I don't think he's going to be top 3, but I think his name would be in the voting contention when his career's ended, in 10 years' time.
Yeah,
potentially.
We'll see.
That's the only one.
Kimmich?
No, once again, no. I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Great player, but
I don't think Germany are going to win a World
better?
Cup when he's playing.
Who do you think's better, Kimmich or Lahm?
Lahm, personally.
But then no.
Yeah.
Then Kimmich won't get in. If Lahm's third, then Kimmich won't get in.
I don't think there's much in it though, but personally, I think Philipp Lahm is the better player.
The thing is, it is really, when you look at it, a lot of these players were generational talents. You're not looking at like 5 players when they're playing. You're looking at 1 or 2. It's every 10 years there's 1 or 2 that you think might get into contention with this list. You're looking at greatest all time. It's the same with any sport, NFL, basketball, tennis. It's not there's 3 players or 4 players playing right now that you can go for. It's 1 or 2. So
and for me, I think when Messi and Ronaldo retire, I think those 2 players are going to be Mbappe and Haaland. I think they're going to be the 2 sort of players we're looking at as the best of this generation of players, personally. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
I think
I can't wait for Chelsea to sign him.
Well, Haaland's got, was it £60 million release clause?
69 million, I think.
Oh,
nice.
That's for a player of his
Beautiful.
caliber. That is nothing.
it's just who's
Less
he going to
money
go
than
to?
Havertz.
Oh, well, yeah, so far.
The thing is, because it's a release clause, it has to be paid up front. It's not the same as like when you
Yeah,
agree a
that's the
deal
issue.
and it can be paid over years.
Yeah,
So,
like Liverpool try and do.
it's the smart thing to do. Why pay
Yeah,
60 million in 1 year if you pay 80 over 5? It means less money's going out the door at one time.
It's very interesting to see where Haaland goes. I'm assuming he'll go Madrid. Maybe he'll go Man City. Who knows?
Yeah.
Man City could afford it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Afford him 20 times over.
to recap the greatest 11, right? To recap the greatest 11, because we've done that. Lev Yashin in goal, Cafu at right back, Beckenbauer at centre back, Maldini at left back, Maradona at right mid, Pele at left mid, Mateus and Xavi in the middle, Messi at right wing, Ronaldo at left wing, Brazilian Ronaldo up front.
Ronaldo. Yeah, fair enough.
Can this
Wouldn't
team
have Ronaldo.
realistically be beaten? I don't think you can beat that team.
Nah, he couldn't be that team unless you've got Mourinho in charge or Sam Allardyce and you're putting everybody behind the ball.
To be honest, the teams in second and third could potentially beat them.
Yeah, on that day.
Yeah, but overall, oh man,
Good
excellent,
team.
excellent. To be honest, considering how difficult this would have been to do, I think they did a pretty good job with the team they came out with.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
I think the Pirlo one was questionable. I don't think he even cracked top 5 best centre midfielders all the time, let alone second.
I'm actually going to quickly check my list because I want to see if I did have any other midfielders centre mids that have been completely snuffed. So Zico, the Brazilian Zico, 1982 World Cup team, greatest team to never win the World Cup.
Eusebio isn't in this list as well.
Yep, Eusebio's not there, Zico's not there, Gerd Muller's not there.
I know this is going to be a bit stupid. Honestly, I think Lampard or Gerrard could be in consideration.
No.
I personally do. I'm
I
going to
don't
put a
think so
hot take
at all.
out there. I think they do.
I think if Pirlo's in contention, I think Lampard could be.
Yeah, but we all agree Pirlo shouldn't be. So
Yeah, fair enough. I personally think Lampard's a better footballer than Pirlo is. I think Gerrard's a better footballer than Pirlo is.
nah, Pirlo's passing was better than both. Pirlo was an exceptional player, but like this Clarence Seedorf.
The Italian Billy Gilmore.
Clarence Seedorf's not there. I'd have Seedorf as one of the great Dutchmen.
I don't think so.
But like I say, Zico to me is the one you put in instead of Pirlo. Zico is considered one of the greatest Brazilian players of all time.
Mm.
You ask Brazilians, he's up there.
Yeah.
He is up there ahead of a lot of the ones that made it into these teams.
I think Tony Kroos is a better footballer than Pirlo.
Yeah, if I go that far.
The thing is, it's all
I like
time.
the hot take, though.
I appreciate them. I don't agree with them. There's plenty of other players, plenty of other midfielders. You have to think about all the greats that were passed for Italy, Germany, Brazil. They're the 3 greatest international teams. Let's be real, they are. And there's been plenty of other great players who deserve mention. Obviously, they weren't going to make everyone happy with this, but once again, I think they've done a good job. I don't have an issue at all with the first 11.
Yeah, I think the only really questionable one was Pirlo, but apart from that, they're all pretty sound.
Again, I'd probably move Zidane to. Well, what about Rutullit? You know, he's Van Basten, Hullet, Rijkaard. Rijkaard's considered the weakest out of the 3. He's in the team, but Hullet isn't. So where's Hullet?
I'd have Hullet over Rijkaard. But overall, no complaints. The only person in the first 11 I'd change would be Ronaldo, probably for Cruyff or Gerd Müller. But that's just me.
I think that's because Ronaldo is one of those players that's considered great,
I think it's
but could have been one of the greatest of all time if it hadn't been for injuries.
I think it's because he's more recent as well.
Yeah. Like I say, Cruyff is one of my all-time favourites, even though I never watched him play. I've watched documentaries, highlights. I've read most of his autobiography. Great talent. Zidane's my favourite player of all time. Happy he's in there. I think he deserves his place, truthfully. Maybe not a right midfielder. Maybe put him in midfield instead of Pirlo. But I think Zidane, you cannot have Zidane as one of the greatest players. Even if he's not like top 5 or top 10 in your eyes, he is top 15 greatest all time. George Best deserves to be in where he is. Van Basten, Platini does. Ramos is a surprising one. I don't have issue with it, but I'm not surprised Ramos got the votes. I don't know about Henry. Henry is, in my opinion, one of the greatest ever Premier League players. I don't know if Henry is one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I think that's debatable for sure.
Yeah, again, if I had a list of all the left wingers and strikers in front of me, I'm sure we'd be able to kick Henry out.
I looked at the players they had, all the that were up for voting. I can't remember them off the top of my head now, but I didn't think Henry would get in, but I didn't know what formation they'd be going for, truthfully. So,
but anyway. But anyway, that is it, and that's our views. And I'd say it was fairly similar in general, but that'll be the end of this episode of the Extra Time segment. Stephen, Anthony, it's been a pleasure as always, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
Of course. And on that note, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.